Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of On the Phone. We have an amazing, not just real estate agent, but amazing human being joining us today. Known this man for well over 10 years. He has mastered marketing in the luxury space, not only just how to get you in the door, but also how to keep you there and help dominate it. And he's going to share some of his amazing secrets with us today. And most importantly, he's going to talk to us about what your mindset needs to be the key luxury agent in your marketplace. Time to Own the Phone. All right, welcome everybody. Good to have you here. The gentleman who is sitting with me here is none other than Michael Lafido. He is one of the preeminent luxury real estate marketing and sales experts in the entire United States, and I consider him a friend as much as anything. And let me tell you a little bit about Michael. So he's a real estate consultant and top producing realtor with over 20 years of experience in the real estate industry. His marketing has been featured on the cover story in Crane Chicago Business and highlighted in Forbes and on Fox News Chicago Business. He's also the author of books Luxury Listing Specialist, Outside the Box, and Marketing Luxury. He's also the founder of the Marketing Luxury Group, assisting other real estate agents, brokers, and affluent homeowners with providing top-tier services, including consulting, lifestyle marketing, public relations, and coaching to agents and owners to sell their luxury homes, utilizing proven and innovative strategies. The Marketing Luxury Group has been recognized as the best property consulting marketing by the International Property Awards. He's also created a nationally recognized luxury designation for real estate agents, which is known as a luxury listing specialist, otherwise known as Lux. This designation establishes an in-depth and detailed set of standards that for agents that they can represent luxury homes, and is currently offered as a continuing education class for agents in Georgia and Texas. He also has the Lux podcast, the Lux Facebook group, and one other thing I was looking at, Facebook group, podcast, and his blog. And yesterday he just advertised that he was selected for, was it the state of Chicago?
I'm the exclusive luxury agent with Hoot Residence, which is a premier publication for high net worth owners and sellers and high net worth individuals. So.
Yeah, awesome. That's exciting. So, man, I appreciate you coming and joining me today. The reason I have so much respect and love for this guy is when I was having some tough times about 5 or 6 years ago, he would pop up on my Facebook, DM at least once a month, check in, see how I was doing. So in addition to being an amazing salesperson, great real estate agent, he's probably one of the nicest and finest human beings I've ever met. So I really appreciate you making some time for me today. So
no problem.
Thanks,
Wally, it's a pleasure. I feel like we all have friends when things are going well, but when stuff hits the fan, and stuff will, that's I think when people's character and true friendship come up. And we've all had ups and downs in our lives, and peaks and valleys. And I know there's been times in my valleys where I'm like, where are these people that care for me? They know I'm hurting, and they're not reaching out. And I made a cognitive effort to try not to be that guy, So if somebody else I know is hurting, to check in with them. But that could be a whole nother episode.
I'll give you a whole podcast on that for sure. But just speak volume about your character and integrity. So I just want to let you know I appreciate you. Yeah. So let's start at the beginning here. Why don't you tell folks a little about yourself? I mean, you live outside of Chicago, correct?
Yeah. So I live born and raised in the Chicago suburbs, and we got a mass exodus out of the state. That's a whole topic in itself. But I live in Wheaton, Illinois, which is about 25-30 miles west of Chicago. And it's where my wife's from as well. And so I have 3 beautiful kids, 5th, 4th, and 3rd grade. And I'm a licensed real estate agent, have a small team, and I also run this Marketing Luxury Group global company.
Right. How did you decide? Because a lot of folks, and I'm going to ask, because my goal with these podcasts, like I said, is to talk about the mindset and how we can get over, because a lot of folks have serious blocks in their head about going after luxury properties, and really just keeps them from fulfilling their goals and achieving their best life. But before we get to that, can you tell me how you got into the luxury space? Like, what was your entree? How'd you do it?
Yeah. So for me, it was a slow progressive transition, right? So I got licensed in 2000, and 2009, I started coaching consulting agents. I created a product, basically a box of DVDs and CDs called The Ultimate Listing Blueprint. More leads, more listings, more closings. Sold it for $497 and did pretty well with it. And there was an agent, or excuse me, I thought he was an agent. There was someone that bought my course, and uh, God rest his soul, he passed away. But Jeff Reber, who was down in Florida, and he called me. I had one of my modules was basically how I get a premium fee in my market. Basically, was one of those modules, and it was based on providing value and mindset and showing value to the consumer so they wouldn't try to beat you up on your fee. And this gentleman worked with some of the top agents in a national franchise, ERA franchise. And so he introduced me to several of his top offices. And so I coached some of those agents, and a few of them were top luxury agents. And I quickly realized that these top luxury agents, they had limiting beliefs. They had barriers to entry. Some of them discounted their fees, and they shouldn't have, because they were top producing agents. And so diving deeper, doing additional research, I realized that, there was a huge void in luxury, not just for an opportunity for me as a coach consultant, but there was a need for agents that were in luxury that weren't marketing these properties correctly. And so we made the shift, in I would say 13, 14, to really focus on luxury. Excuse me. And then 2016, we launched our designation, which is called Luxury Listing Specialist, or Lux for short. We launched it to actually down in the Dallas-Fort Worth market to RE/MAX DFW and Associates. We launched it at a Studio Movie Grill. We had an event with 100 agents there. And that RE/MAX office wanted additional tools and resources, more than that they were getting from RE/MAX Corporate. And so they required agents to go through our course to be listed as a luxury agent on their website.
Gotcha. So how many people have taken your course to this point?
That's a great question. So we've had thousands of agents go through our course. Last year, just as the pandemic was hitting, I was like literally on the last flight out of Mexico. Friday the 13th was when the schools all closed down, and Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday the 11th, I believe, is when the NCAA canceled March Madness and the NBA paused their season. I was on the last flight out of Mexico on March 12th. I had helped Keller Williams Mexico launch their luxury division. So we've taught this in Canada. We've taught it in Mexico. I've taught virtually other countries, but physically in those two countries. So again, we've had different levels of classes. We got courses. We just got approved for Florida CE. We're doing our first training on June 3rd. But while we have entry level, introductory type, and then we have the advanced for those that are dedicated to breaking and dominating luxury.
Gotcha. So what, I was watching your, because I took a snippet of it. I was watching your conversation with Anthony Lamacchia.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to be the keynote speaker this year at his event. And,
I actually, I was. So it was in January.
Oh, you were? So it already happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I flew out to Boston, and he's a great guy. He's doing some amazing things. He rented out the studio, and so we did an event out there. And there's so many limiting beliefs that agents have, no matter how many years they've been licensed or if they're with a certain brand. And I didn't know if you're going that way. I could talk about that.
That's exactly what. That's not exactly, but that's why. I mean, part of the reason I have you here is because, my whole program is about helping people overcome, call reluctance, procrastination, limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, anything related to keeping them from achieving their best life, not just as a salesperson, but also as a human being. And, I know you're and you've been in luxury for a long time. And having coached for the last 20 years, I know there's lots and lots of folks who, they're in their head and they're like, oh my God, I can't call this person. It's $1 million house. And, I'm like, you can call them, I'm saying you absolutely can call them. So that's it. So you can take it in any direction you want. Whatever works for you.
Yeah, so absolutely, not just in phone, but I've realized that so many agents are afraid to actually go on the appointment. So I go to a lot of these big national conferences, and I used to go to the 3 Inman conferences a year, the New York one in January, then And in the summer, it was San Francisco / Vegas. And then in the fall, they used to have a luxury conference. And I was at Inman, New York a couple years back, and somebody introduced me to an agent out of Atlanta and was like, oh, this is what Michael does. And she goes, man, I wish I would have met you. I had the opportunity to go on a $10 million listing appointment, and it was a PGA golfers, and it was pretty much a for sure listing because of the introduction, and she didn't go. And so, so whether it be picking up the phone because of the what ifs, okay, or whether it be going on the actual appointment because of the what ifs, those I call limiting beliefs or excuses, right? So many agents think they got to be licensed X amount of years before they can dip into the high-end and luxury buyers or sellers, or I got to be with a certain brand. I got to be with Compass or Sotheby's, and that's false. Or I got to drive a nice car or live in a certain community, or I certainly can't sell luxury in this market because there's already blank number of luxury agents in that market. And those are all false. So I don't care if that number is 13 or 38 luxury agents. There's certainly room for 39. If that number is 133, Wally, I'd say there's certainly room for 134. So don't you give me any number, I'm going to tell you there's room for another.
Well,
so
one more,
bottom
right?
line is that's a limiting belief that many agents have. And so sure, does it help, Wally, if I came from white collar and I went to an Ivy League school and my parents came from wealth? Would I have a leg up in my database, in my sphere, in my sphere of influence? Would that be a little bit more higher net worth than those that weren't? Sure, but I came from blue collar. I was the first to go to college. I got a 19 on my ACT. Okay, so if I can do it, they can do it.
Cool. Nice. All the money I spent on my kids, I could get a 24.
There you go. They did better than me.
That's crazy. No, I'm just saying it's insane. You know what I'm saying? And better than do. I mean, what is better? I mean, it's a standardized test, and certainly it's no indicator of how successful you can be. You know what I'm saying?
No,
So,
it really isn't. So, like, for example, I work out 4 to 5 days a week at Orange Theory Fitness. They're a big national program. People have heard of them. And literally yesterday during my work by the way, I taught high school health and physical education for over 10 years.
Kidding.
I know how to work out. I know what to do on a treadmill. I know these things. But what do? I invest because there's accountability, there's training. Sometimes we need a kick in the rear end, no different than what you do as well, right? We help build people up. We give them confidence. We give them systems and tools to be successful. So I could be successful working out. I've run 11 marathons, but guess what? Orange Theory is that structure that I need to focus, to take on those goals for me. But where I'm going with the stories, yesterday, the trainer at Orange Theory Fitness talked about, would you rather? And it was, would you rather have your kid be super smart or super confident? And I'd say more people said super smart, but I said super confident because I think confidence is contagious. And if you're confident enough, you'll step out of your comfort zone. And I'd rather hire somebody that has good people skills and is confident than that bookworm, that guy that's smart in school, but it's got no interpersonal skills and lacks confidence.
I agree. So, I was because I was looking for information because I know you, but I obviously we don't talk every day, so I was just trying to find more and more information. I saw one of the things you said. It was either in a video or it may have been in the snippet from Anthony Lamaki's group, but you had talked about why should somebody choose a luxury agent versus a regular agent, and that you really have to position yourself differently when you sit in front of somebody, when you talk to them on the phone. What does that look like? What does that look like for most people?
Yeah, so you definitely want to carry yourself confidently. I think you need to look the part if you're first starting out, even more so, right? You got to fake it till you make it a little bit. So, I'm not a tie guy, but when I go on in the last couple of weeks, I've gone on a $10 million listing appointment, a 1.8, and for both of those, right, nice collared shirt and a sport coat, but that might be different for somebody else. Somebody in rural Colorado might show up with their their hat on and their cowboy boots. So, but you want to look the part. You want to be confident. But Daniel Kahneman says it better than I can. He said people would rather do business with. And by the way, he wrote a bunch of books and was a Nobel Peace Prize winner. But he says people would rather do business with someone they like and they trust, rather than someone they don't. Even if this likable person is offering a lower quality product and service at a higher price. So my point is, be likable, be authentic, be yourself, be knowledgeable, understand what it is you're selling and understand the market. Be
Mhm.
authentic, and you'll be hired more so than that rock star, snotty,
Mhm.
and doesn't have time for that person.
Mhm. So, from the research I've done and from working with agents across the country, I have come to appreciate the fact that the people who are selling higher end houses, in many cases, the relationship, and just to your point, is even more important than it would be selling a lower priced house, just because when somebody's wealthy, a lot of times people want more from them. Does that make sense? Like people are
Yeah.
always looking for something from them, and they're probably a little bit more guarded. So that
Yeah.
relationship is even more important, right? So my question for you though is, other than that, do luxury home sellers, luxury home buyers want anything different for the sale of their home or the purchase of their home than the average home seller and buyer? Right? And so sellers want the best price they can get. They want to move in their time frame, and they don't want to have to, do a truckload of work to make it happen. Right? Buyers want selection, price, and ease of doing business. Same thing. So, are the wants and needs of the luxury home seller and buyer vastly different than what everybody else wants, above and beyond being able to work with somebody they probably can trust more and have a better relationship with?
It's not vastly different. I mean, at
Mhm.
the end of the day, everybody's wants and needs are a little bit different, but like you say, I say it a little bit different. But the most listened to radio station most sellers listen to, including luxury sellers, is what's in it for me. All they care about is what are you going to do to save them time, aggravation, and get their
Mhm.
property sold for faster for more money. And uh, you know, sometimes with those high end clients, they want to be anonymous, they want it low profile, they want it off market if possible. I'm working with a big time professional athlete right now, and he really dragged his feet before putting the home on the market, and we're not on yet because he would prefer a private sale. So privacy, security is maybe a little bit it's a priority with everybody, but maybe a little
Mhm.
bit more higher
For sure.
priority. Uh,
Mhm.
Qualification, like, hey, I don't want any tire kickers. Nobody wants tire kickers for their home, but
Mhm.
most agents are terrible at pre-qualifying and having those difficult conversations with the buyer's agent or the buyer ahead of time. And
Mhm.
Wally, you can't go into your local Lamborghini dealership and test drive a Lamborghini, and they know you have the means to purchase it. Well, same thing when it comes to high-end and luxury properties, and every market's different. At some price point, in a lot of markets, there's not going to be a lockbox. The listing agent
Mhm.
needs to accompany all showings. Now, in
Mhm.
a lot of these cities, you don't have lockboxes, and someone from the listing office has to be there, even in the average price points. But talking about suburbs primarily, at some price point, there's no lockbox. And so, what is that agent doing to advocate for the seller, to pre-screen? Okay, and you have fair housing. You have to be consistent as an agent. You got to know what you can ask, what you can't, and you have to be consistent. So it's that comes with experience and having mentors and trainers, and we teach agents how to overcome that, how to
Mhm.
articulate what to say, what not to say, how to draw a line in the sand. Say, you know what, I appreciate the fact that you say your client is qualified, and nobody else has asked you, but this is
Mhm.
a request that my sellers have asked me to ask you.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Certainly need a lot of attention too at some point, I'm sure.
Attention. Some
Yeah.
some sellers, some luxury sellers are a lot more attention seeking
Mhm.
than average sellers, but some are more laid back too, and they're like, hey, we know it's a difficult market. We know we have something different and unique. We know the pool of buyers is much smaller. We trust you. Here's the keys to the car, so to speak. Do what you have to
Right.
do from a marketing and a positioning standpoint. Keep us updated if you need anything. So you have a fine balance of those sellers.
Gotcha. I So let's talk real quickly about breaking into the market. What I'm saying, people I think are at their wits end. What do I have to do to get some business? I guess they could
Yep.
call expired.
Yep.
A lot of gated communities. I mean, do they go meet? A lot of wealthy people tend to be in a lot of what do you call them?
Country
Non-for-profit
clubs.
organizations, country
Yeah.
clubs. Yeah. So
Golf
what's
clubs,
a
country clubs.
what's a
Well,
sweet
first
spot?
off, yeah. Well, there's no easy button here.
No,
Okay,
I didn't think
everybody's
there
looking this easy
was.
button, Wally. However, I will
Didn't think
tell
there
you,
was.
uh, I'm a former football coach, so I have a lot of isms,
Uh-huh.
and one of my sayings is shy real estate agents have skinny
Skinny
kids.
kids.
Okay.
Yep.
And so you can't be shy in this industry. You got to be able to talk to people and start conversations. And you overhear from the other side of the room that someone's talking about buying or selling. You got to be able to go talk to people. But a good friend of mine's dad once told him business advice, told him, go to where the money is. So this guy, Dave, had an opportunity to take on a job transfer and move around and move his family. His dad told him, go where the money is. Well, as a real estate agent, you might need to go to where the money is. So when I was breaking into luxury, I joined the Chamber of Commerce in this town called Hinsdale, Illinois, 40 minutes away from me. Was it inconvenient? Did I like going there first thing in the morning before, I could walk the kids to school or take them? Not necessarily, but I was motivated. I wanted to increase my average sale price. I wanted to work more high-end luxury buyers. So I joined the chamber where a lot of business owners that catered to that clientele and relationships, right? I built relationships with those people that had a lot of clientele, and that I was top of mind awareness, right? So I literally had people in the chamber say, man, where did you come from? In the last 6 months, we see you all over the place. And that's what you want. You want to be like that top of mind awareness, the reticulator activator, the part of your brain that heightens your awareness of certain things. When someone's thinking about buying or selling, it's on you as an agent to be in those thoughts, to be in those conversations.
Right. So in that there's no easy button, there's no way to really collapse time either, right? You've got to continue to do everything on a regular basis, and it can take as long as it's going to take, right?
You got to be consistent with it, right? And it doesn't happen overnight. And that's what, people that are high energy and high D's and I's, they get frustrated because they're more fast paced. And the S's and the C's are more wired to take long term, right? So, yeah, it takes some time. And then, but if you don't have time, what's the next best thing, Wally? If I were to move, and you're in Texas, correct?
Yeah.
If I were to move in your neighborhood, in your area, and I wanted to break into luxury and got my license, the first thing I would do is I'd join a chamber in the price points that service luxury. I would shadow a luxury agent in my market, and I would say, let me work your open houses at these properties, your luxury properties. And I would attend broker opens at luxury properties, whether it be my office or other properties, get permission of the listing agent ahead of time and shoot videos. Hey, it's Michael Lafido. I'm here at Wally's listing over at 123 Texas Parkway. This house is amazing. And I'd be consistently putting myself out there. And even if my database and sphere isn't built in that area, maybe all my spheres back in Chicago, I would building relationships, joining the chamber, networking, going have a beer at the golf course, doing those things, going to charity events. I know some of this is limited during COVID versus post-COVID, but you could still do those things.
That's amazing. So that's the break into what's the dominate look like? Obviously,
yeah. So that's
dominate. So what's the dominate look like?
Dominate looks like leveraging what you built, leveraging those successes, leveraging circle prospecting, leveraging staying in contact with your clients. I sold a home last year. It was a record sale in Chicagoland. Some people might laugh hearing this because they have those sales day in and day out, but it was the highest sale in DuPage County and Will and Kane County. It was $4.75 million. And that seller, has referred me another person that's looking at. I showed him a $7 million home. So you do it's like Meet the Parents with Robert De Niro. It's like that circle of trust. You do a good job and you break into that circle of trust with high net worth individuals. It's not as large as you think, but it is large once you're in because everybody seems to know everybody.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So obviously, just to recap real quickly, your mindset is key. Obviously, you can't think that you're not worthy of the opportunity to work with high net worth sellers and buyers, right? The big differences above and beyond the relationship and the trust are that, those sellers may need a little bit more attention. But they also want to see that you're committed to getting your home sold, with marketing dollars for sure. And then, breaking into your marketplace is really just being seen, being in front of the right people on a consistent basis and doing it consistently. Like I said, consistent twice, sorry. And then, the only other thing then is to dominate your market. Then it's a matter of just leveraging your current relationships and trying to get in front of other people at the same time.
Yeah, and show up differently. What's your unique value proposition? So for me, we do some amazing photos and our videos are amazing. And, like this is something when I go on a listing appointment, if you were the seller, I'd say, hey, Wally, if you hire me, we're going to create a video similar to this home that we created. It was a 1,200-acre ranch. And Wally, in this particular video, we brought in $2.5 million worth of vehicle. This video's got over 200,000 views. Now, Wally, this video here is a property that we were marketing where we, so I just example after example after example. It's like ShamWow. It's like the late night infomercials. The power of demonstration is really important. So if you can't demonstrate your track record, you're going to have to leverage your companies or your brokerages until you have your own track record of selling similar type properties in that area.
Show me is always better than tell me, right?
It's always better. But on the same token, I got to show you this. I'm marketing a home that was Architectural Digest most beautiful home for sale in Illinois. It's on the cover of my book. This was the Lion's Den on the TV show. This was Architectural Digest most beautiful home for sale in Illinois. But where am I going with you on the story? At the listing appointment, the seller, it was listed. He called me. You can go on an appointment if it's listed, as long as they initiate he contacted me. It was a referral. I went to high school with his niece, and she saw all the things I was doing. Show and tell. We're in a show and tell industry, and she said, "Hey, Uncle, you should give this guy a call. He's doing some really creative things." So he called me, and he flat out asked, "How many homes have I sold in Barrington Hills?" I said, "I haven't sold any homes in Barrington Hills, but you've hired the local neighborhood experts, and what has that got you?" So if you want to hire someone that's outside the box, that thinks differently, that has systems into place, you're talking to the right guy. But if you want the neighborhood expert and that's all they sell, I'm not them. So it's kind of like the takeaway clothes. So my conversation, if you were a seller, Wally, and I've never sold a 4 million, a 1 million, fill in the blank, but my bread and butter is 500, and you were a $1.5 million seller, and you asked me how many $1.5 million homes have I sold, I would tell you, Wally, that's a great question. I haven't sold any. I have a lot of colleagues and partners in our company that I'm going to be brainstorming best practices. But I can tell you, I'm a former college football player. I've run 11 marathons. My butt's always burning. I always want to get better, Wally. And so I'm going to take that same work ethic, that hungry, that thinking outside the box, and I'm going to apply it to your home. I've been successful in the price point that I have, and I guarantee you we're going to be successful in selling your home. So if you want part-time Patty or part-time Paul or traditional Tim and traditional Tammy, I'm not them. But if you want marketer Mike, you're looking at the right guy. I'm going to get your home sold. I'm going to apply the things that I'm doing at other price points. I'm going to use my Shark Tank and my network with other luxury agents that I'm friends with, and we're going to implement best practices to get your home sold.
How could somebody say no to that?
I mean, but I like, this is not my sales guy. I'm speaking passionately because I believe that.
No, and that's what I'm saying. How can, because the thing is, it's authentic, it's real. How could somebody say no to that,
Yeah.
That's incredible. Well, that probably explains why you're so successful too, is because you're so real and authentic with people. So that's amazing. Tell us a little bit about your...
And part of the way I've gotten that way, you see the sign behind me says "Prove them wrong," right?
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate to play high school and college sports, and I was ingrained to always get better. Don't be satisfied where you're at. Surround yourself with the best. I know I look like a kicker. I was a defensive back though, and I used to lift weights with the linebackers. And yeah, when I left the weight room, I felt weak compared to them, but they were pushing me to make better. I could have lifted with the other defensive backs and been the strongest one, but I pushed. So Tony Robbins says success leaves clues. Go figure out what someone successful is doing, emulate it, modify it, tweak it, and make it your own. So that's what we're hopefully doing, is giving agents a blueprint. And for those agents that want some great tools and resources, you can Google luxury real estate. You can Google me. Wally put some stuff up there. There's tons of stuff online about me. But for those that are really committed and they're dedicated, then you might consider our designation. It's an online platform. We teach it live as well. In 2 weeks, actually 2 weeks from today, I'm going to be in Napa Valley doing my training at a winery. Who wouldn't want to be at a winery for luxury training? But we also do it virtually, where it's self-paced at your own. You get a username and password and go through it. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, of course.
Yeah. What do you, if anybody has any questions, you can certainly help us. And then, we'll have this as a replay, I'm sure too, but I put your website up earlier. Now they can see about how to get your blueprint there. So do you want to show them a quick picture of that?
Yeah, so absolutely. This is the blueprint. Text luxury today to this phone number and get a copy of our luxury blueprint. And there's some videos and some other things on there as well, Wally. And We do have a luxury swag gear. I got to put a plug out there. If you go to luxuryspecialistgear.com, luxury specialist gear, we got some really cool swag, t-shirts, hoodie, for both male, female. We have, luxury specialist. We have various things on there. The thing I love most on there is my objection handling playing cards, literally 52 playing cards. And we have objections that agents have to overcome going into luxury. We sell those online for $27. You can go to luxuryspecialistgear.com.
I love it. So if I take your course, what at the end of it, what should I be able to do as a result of going through your certification and becoming a luxury listing specialist?
Yeah, so if you take our course and you focus, you go through it, you turn the phone off, you focus and you implement. After each module, we have action steps, right? Kind of like homework assignments. We want you to take action, Wally. If you implement those action steps, our goal for an agent that goes through our course in the next 12 to 24 months, your average sale price, you should be able to increase it by 30% or more. And so if your average sale price for you as an agent is $300,000, you should be at least $390 in the next 12 to 24 months by implementing our strategies. I like to, under promise and over deliver. It should be a lot more than that, but we tell that baseline 30% or more. If you go through our course, you will attract more high-end buyers and high-end sellers and more luxury buyers and more luxury sellers.
I love it. So you ever watch Hot Ones where that guy Sean, I forget his name, eats hot wings with people?
I've seen it. Yeah. Yep.
It's funny. So at the end, he says, "Tell everybody, let everybody know what you're working on." You working on a Pike?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So we are working on some things. We're looking to go more global, kind of like Tony Robbins has the trainers in different parts of the country teaching his system. So we just got approved in Florida. We're looking to expand our Luxury 101 CE programs. California Association of Realtors just hired me to create a breaking in the luxury course for their agents. And so we're looking to expand. So, if somebody's passionate, they like getting in front of people, they like training, we're looking for people like them to basically work with them to teach them our system so that they can teach others.
Awesome. So real quickly, so I just want to make sure we do this again. So if you want to find out more about Michael and his designation, you can go to marketingluxurygroup.com, correct?
Yeah, so marketingluxurygroup.com, you can find out me, our coaching, and the designation. If you just want information on the designation itself, which is called Luxury Listing Specialist, basically Luxury Specialist for short, go to luxurylistingspecialist.com, luxurylistingspecialist.com.
Okay. And then you're kind enough to give these folks an amazing piece of information to help them navigate at least what they need to do to get moving in the luxury space. So that's, you text luxury to 630-474-6360.
Yeah, they'll be sent an instant message they'll be asked their email address. They got to enter that in, and it'll be emailed over to them.
Awesome. Cool. Anything else you want to add before we go?
No, appreciate it, guys. I love when people say you can't do this, you can't do that. I thrive off of it. Not everybody does. Confidence is contagious, so is lack thereof. But I tell agents, when you grow your knowledge, your confidence will grow. It'll skyrocket. If you're more confident, you'll step out of your comfort zone. If you're more confident, you'll join that Chamber of Commerce 40 minutes away. If you're more confident, you'll call that high-end seller. You'll call that buyer back, whoever it might be. So I challenge you to think outside the box, be creative, and prove others wrong.
Dude, I love that. That's exactly why I wanted you on today, because I knew you had the goods when it came to that. So I really appreciate you coming here today. Thank you so much. Nothing else to add?
That's it.
All right. Hey, that's Mike Lafido. I'm Wally Bressler. This has been On the Phone. Hey there, this is Wally Bressler, and on behalf of my guest today, I'd like to thank you for joining us for this episode of On the Phone. If you'd like more information on how to overcome sales call reluctance, procrastination, and self-sabotage, and become an expert on the phone, go to www.phonesalessecrets.com. And if you'd like my free course on how to overcome sales call reluctance, please go to www.phonesalessecrets.com/go. Good luck.